We're excited, we're packing and getting ready, making final preparations to head to the timber frame workshop. And something's become extremely obvious to us. We actually had this on our list of videos to make, and I think it's finally coming to a head. And that is, what are you building? Are you building a homestead or are you building a prison? To get ready for the workshop, we have a list of to-dos, like I need to get the oil changed on this and it's due for a tune-up. Something you don't realize about building an off-grid homestead is that running a homestead is actually extremely complex, something like an off-grid homestead. There's so many little systems that require maintaining. Not the average person is really equipped to maintain these systems. Fortunately, the weather has been conducive, so we're back to using our interim water system because our trenches have failed on us, and so we've been unable to get started on our water system just yet. Also, maintaining a solar system in the absence of the original owner can be quite difficult. So, for example, on my to-do list today, I've got to get these two batteries out of here and move the bank over. That way, everything's operating more normally. And my sister has actually volunteered to take time out of her week to come house sit for us. She's pretty savvy with this stuff, but we want to make sure that it's working properly when she arrives. If you watched my last video, we're having issues with that and it's making everything more complicated. At first, all of these alternative systems seem like really cool, super fun, until you realize that you can't leave because the average teenager who you'd normally pay a few bucks or maybe just ask a favor can't come house sit for you. There are a lot of systems in that RV that need to be managed and monitored and have to be operated correctly, otherwise you'll come home to having lots of problems. Something that's on my to-do list that to a lot of folks who watch our channel makes absolutely no sense is I need to get a training flight in. I actually passed my written FAA test about a week ago, and I have not had a chance to fly in almost a month, which means I'm getting extremely rusty. And I've taken the attitude that I'm going to fly when it's convenient for me, even if that means it takes me longer to get my license. But there's a really great reason to be flying. Now, there's a lot of them, I guess, but I want to share one of those with you right now. Today, I've invited one of my neighbors to come fly with me. Now, I'm a student, so I actually can't take passengers, but because I have an instructor with me, I'm allowed to fill the plane up if I want to. And it's a 4-seat airplane, so that means on every training flight, I have 2 seats available. Now, most flights, well, they're not really that great for passengers because sometimes the windy conditions make it a little bit bumpy, which makes it not very enjoyable. And then sometimes we do some pretty intense maneuvers and stuff, so, you know, it's not the best. But when I can, I do my best to invite other people to go with me on these flights. And basically, they get a free flight around the beautiful area where we live. What does that have to do with building a homestead or a prison? This particular neighbor has been extremely instrumental to our success, Alyssa and I's, because when I'm gone from the homestead, you know, Alyssa's there all alone, which kind of bothers me. But because I have good neighbors, I feel really confident in Alyssa, first of all. But I know that I've got caring people who are there to support her. And this neighbor has been one of those folks. If Alyssa needs anything, they're one phone call away. And you can't put a price on that. One common question from a lot of our followers has been, why don't you guys have chickens yet? Or, oh, you should get some goats, or, you know, these types of things. And Alyssa and I are super excited to have all those elements on our homestead. But here's the problem. Who takes care of those when you're gone? And I know some of our fellow homesteaders in the area have this same basic struggle, and that is they can't ever both leave at the same time. Now, Alyssa and I have been able to get away with this kind of setup for a while because one or the other of us leaves, but that leaves us traveling alone. And our family has been very understanding that we can't just travel a lot, but we've tried to make time when we can to travel to see family, be there for important events, but it's definitely difficult, and we don't get to travel together, something that Alyssa and I really don't like. So basically, we're stuck with overnight trips as a maximum. We do have some friends in the area who will stop by and take care of Bugaboo, make sure that he's fed and taken care of. but it's a bit exhaustive or extensive to try to educate them on all the solar and water system and making sure that all of those elements are taken care of. Imagine if we had a bunch of livestock and poultry and all this other stuff running around. It gets to be basically a prison. That's not a bad thing. But what we're trying to say is you need to think clearly before you get all of these elements on your homestead. Alyssa and I are at a point where we're still very transient. We've got a lot going on. We've got businesses, we've got, you know, family events to attend, things like that. And we're just not in a place where we can be tied down to a piece of property. Something I've heard commented on by several other homesteaders, and I just want to touch on this. I actually have another video in mind, so I won't get too in depth, but I just want to reinforce the value of one thing, and that is community. Back in the winter, we got a snowplow, and we had that snowplow, we gave that to a friend, and there was a lot of negative comments around that, like, oh, what a terrible thing to do, give someone else your snowplow and make them plow your driveway. And that thinking doesn't work around here. Around here, we all use each other. That came out wrong. We all help each other, but it's because when we need help, we want to be able to ask our friends and neighbors for help too. And so that snowplow, instead of helping us 3 or 4 times this winter, was able to help a bunch of families. I think it was like 5 or 6 different families. And so that's how community works. When you need help, you're going to need somebody you can call on. And I see this happen a lot with other newish homesteaders. They have this idea like, oh, I'm gonna move off grid. I don't need other people. That's the whole point, is I'm disappearing and I'm gonna just vanish from the face of the earth and I'm gonna be self-reliant. And while those are good goals, you still need people. People are very important to your success. And this neighbor and many other neighbors have been extremely pivotal to Alyssa and I being able to keep going on this journey. I just remembered that we actually connected with a local coffee shop who is willing to give us their coffee grounds. So I want to stop and see if they've got a bucket full of grounds for us yet. Really? They're gonna shut me down on the camera. You know what? Not everybody likes to be on camera, just so you know. You can just talk to me from the back corner. Just speak loudly. Hey, do you guys have coffee grounds for us?
We do.
Ah, oh, sweet. Hold on, I will pull around. Wow, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
How long did that take?
When we actually started filling it, like a couple days.
Really? Mm-hmm. Wow. 5 gallons in 2 days? Wow, check it out. Look at all this coffee.
Transponder 1200, and we're talking altitude is set to take off.
Rotate, aileron into the van. There you go.
Okay, got it.
And then now you go into your crab and climb out.
That's an elk track down there.
Yeah, lots of it, right? Lots of elk over here.
So the flight went fantastic. I'm really glad I took a couple of hours this afternoon to just get back in a plane and get a little bit of flying in. And I'm super, super excited that I got to take my neighbor with me. He had a lot of fun, said he really enjoyed himself, and he said, anytime you want to take me up, please. That makes me so happy because he's done so many wonderful things for Alyssa and I. So if you're watching this, please, thank you for going with me, and thank you for all that you've done for Alyssa and I too. And now we can get back to getting ready for the workshop. All right, got a massive list of town chores all done. Time to check in with Alyssa and kind of see where we are on the to-do list. I hear Bugaboo singing a little song in here. Let's see what he's up to. Hiya! Howdy!
Hey.
How's it going in here?
Good.
Hi, Bugaboo. Where are you going? Bugaboo's busy.
Oh yeah. Came home at the same time looking for food.
Ooh, is it Bugaboo feeding time?
It is.
It's always Bugaboo feeding time.
Many hours ahead of schedule.
Yeah. So I survived flying.
Okay.
Town chores are done.
Okay.
Camera's dead.
Okay.
So I'm gonna get that charged. and then maybe we can reassess.
Sounds good.
Okay. Ooh. Oh, wow. Yummy. Woo.
This cat is spoiled.
Makes me so
Spoiled.
hungry. You have,
Spoiled
you have no idea how hungry that makes
Right?
me.
What's next on the to-do list?
So we've got to get those batteries out of the solar battery box.
Okay.
So we need to power this whole thing down.
Okay.
So we're going to shut the solar off. See, we're sitting at 11.5 volts, which is no bueno.
Pathetic.
All right,
Running
so
that generator hours a night.
yeah, we're burning like the fuel down. All right, so let's go ahead and shut this guy off and we'll get those batteries out of there.
So even something as simple as shutting the solar panels off and shutting down the battery bank or disconnecting this shindig, I have to ask Jesse every time because I don't remember. So this is something that I know if someone else were to watch our property, they would be as confused as I am. Why would someone need to shut off the power when property's sitting for us? I don't know. You're creative though, I'm sure you could think of dozens of reasons.
Oh yeah, the amount of things that can go wrong. Yeah,
Right?
lots of them.
Flip the red switch in there and flip this red switch.
So you folks know from my previous solar videos that I've been using all metal wrenches around my batteries. And that's a big no-no, right? But I trust myself enough to do it, but I don't trust other people. So I put electrical tape on the end of my all metal wrench. So now, if my sister inadvertently shorts it out, we won't have a fire. Next, we need to get the generator in the best condition possible so Anna can run it for a long time. Just need to do an oil change real quick, and then just gonna check a couple things on the back to make sure it's got a good tune-up.
We're not trying to leave Anna with chores to do to get things running. We're trying to make it so that everything's in the best working condition possible and she has as little work to do as possible.
Yeah, and there's just always a million little chores even when you live here, so when you're gonna be gone for a week. But you know what, here's the thing. We don't know how long we're gonna be gone. Am I right? Like we expect
in a
to be
perfect
gone
world,
for
a week. Yep.
But what if travel delays, medical emergencies?
Yep.
I mean, anything can happen, right? I guess we're trying to leave it in a way that if it was, you know, a month or more before we got back, wouldn't be chaos.
Something that can be wise before you leave is to leave checklists for whoever is going to manage your property. We don't anticipate that Anna should have to do many material runs. We're gonna try to leave her with enough water, generator fuel, propane. That said, we have to make sure that Anna can get these things if she needs them. And we're definitely gonna keep this in mind when building our permanent house and our permanent systems, is that we'd really like to be able to get the heck out of Dodge if we want to for like a month, and almost anyone can watch our property with maybe a simple checklist. So Jesse got the spark plug out.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is like 1,500 hours on a spark plug. That's pretty good. And for you dudes out there, you'll appreciate this. This is the spark arrestor after 1,500 hours.
Ooh,
too.
Spark arresters.
Sounds sexy, right?
That does look
It's a
pretty
little-
good, in my
it's a
professional
little dirty,
opinion.
right? But we're gonna clean that before we put
Carburetor?
it back in. No, this is actually to arrest sparks on the exhaust.
Okay.
That's how clean the exhaust has been on this generator for 1,500 hours. Anyway, pretty good stuff.
No need to beat a dead horse, hopefully we didn't already. So let's get these chores finished up, and I think Jesse has compost gifts for me.
Well, should we see if it'll run?
Yep.
I'm not exactly a certified mechanic. All right. So oil's changed, spark plug's new. Let's see if she'll fire up.